everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I am covering a topic tonight that I think is really important. Um, it's in regards to how to choose a bookkeeper, especially if you haven't had one before. And I'm going to cover the Saturday night spreadsheet trap, the doing it on your own reality check, and why an expert is critical just beyond the math and numbers. So I think one of the biggest points in this topic is business owners can start to see bookkeeping services as an expense rather than an investment. It brings a return that's greater than its cost. And I think for somebody who has been wearing lots of hats and you're looking for ways to reduce profit loss and have cash flow issues, and you're looking for a way to find more time into your week to do the things that bring you calmness and peace. And for some people who are the business owners and they're the creators and the creatives, doing things that are numbers related can be a really stressful and frustrating period of time. And I think that when you have a person who has dedicated their time and attention to a topic like bookkeeping and reaching, especially if you have a pro advisor or a CPA or a professional certified accountant, those are critical people for your business to help you know when to make the right decisions, when to hold your cards, and when to just stay put. And also when to potentially actually make those cuts in some of your expenses. So this is really, I think it's just unfortunate that it gets seen as a very simple admin sort of role, and it's something that's going to just another cost for the business rather than an investment that you make in a partner who is going to value your business and look for ways to be efficient and accurate with your bookkeeping. So let's dive in and talk about the Saturday night spreadsheet trap. So this is going to be your people like your restaurant owners, retail shops, the very cash to hand type setup. Those are going to be people who are putting it off until the last minute or putting it off until the end of the week and then spending several hours in the very little bit of free time that they have checking receipts and putting numbers into a spreadsheet, and then rinse, wash, and repeat. The reality check in this is that doing your own books doesn't save you money. It costs you in the most valuable asset, which is your time. Your hourly rate is $100 and you spend 10 hours a month on books. You've just paid $1,000 for mediocre bookkeeping because that may not be your specialty. That may be something that you're familiar with, what the outcome you want, but you're not really the expert in how to reach those outcomes in an efficient and less expensive way. And this is why partnering with an expert is critical beyond just the math of a cost. Data integrity is the key factor. Bookkeepers don't just enter numbers, they ensure that data is accurate. I think that sometimes business owners can get this idea that bookkeeping is like, let's just say back in the Ebenezer Scrooge days where there was a book and they would write some numbers in and a note about them and then create some totals. nowadays you have QuickBooks Online where it's very complex and it's very powerful. It can do a lot of different activities and quickly bring you to an outcome uh, within a few short moments per transaction. So it's definitely a better way to go if you can get technology to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. It's, uh, One of my favorite things about QuickBooks Online is that it connects directly to your bank account. It doesn't take away from the need for you to still open that statement and verify everything that's happened, because the QuickBooks Online is not not your bookkeeper for you. It's the the, the tool that is going to manage the all the different moving parts of your financial story. And that's one of my favorite things when I was taking accounting courses back in the day. Um, there was a classmate I worked on a few projects with, and she told me that her favorite thing about being in bookkeeping and accounting is that you're the storyteller of the financial report, and that brought a really interesting aspect to me, and really kept me interested in this particular industry um, because of that factor that it really is you're the storyteller. And so what bookkeepers do is they're focused on keeping clean books for you. There's low errors. They understand GAAP. They understand the process. So when they're looking at what's happening in QuickBooks, they can easily pick out when something isn't correct. Versus if you're uneducated eyes and you go into QuickBooks, yes, you can link things. Yes, it's going to push transactions, and yes, you can learn a few simple workflows. But you may not understand when things go wrong, why that happened, and what the back work is to reconcile it. And and this is the key factor to having a bookkeeper is somebody that can help you in your business understand when you're qualified to borrow more money so you can expand, or when you could potentially expect to be rejected because you don't have enough cash flow, or your assets haven't been properly recorded, or you just simply aren't categorizing your transactions in a way that is pleasing for banks to approve you for a loan. Those are some of the things that having a qualified expert doing your bookkeeping for you can be really beneficial and really return on the little bit of money that you would spend hiring an expert to do this particular kind of work. So the other thing is that you probably have a long-time relationship with your CPA, and their specific focus is to talk to you about filing your taxes and doing it in a way that won't raise any flags or get you an audit, and also to get your taxes paid or get you your return. So bookkeepers speak that same tax language as accountants and CPAs. So you really have somebody that can look into your daily, weekly, monthly, and annual business transactions and ask those really important questions, or help you ask those really important questions to your CPA or accountant, and let you know when the matters have left bookkeeping services and are at higher level to your accountant and CPA questions, and where you need their specific help. So because CPAs and accountants have a little further reach than bookkeepers do in as far as what they're qualified and allowed to do inside of something like QuickBooks Online. Something people don't realize is that bookkeepers can be your experts in helping you map your chart of accounts and do your reconciliations in a way that provides reports that CPAs and accountants can can use for the work that they're doing for your business and the advice they're giving you. They're really there to look at the outcomes and have those in-depth conversations with you. Where your bookkeeper is that, if you think of it like a theater play, you have the actors right out front. They're what people come there to see. You have and then you have the stage, and you have the people in the background who built the stage, and they manage the props. So your bookkeepers are a lot like the prop managers and the stage builders. They assure that everything everyone's looking at is in alignment with the story, that it's pleasing, that it's easy to understand, and really gives the audience a memorable, a great experience. So that's one of the ways I like to explain bookkeepers, accountants, CPAs, is just through that analogy. So when you have somebody that understands the process of reconciliation and can manage your books for you, that person can help you breeze through the end of the year when you're filing your taxes, your 1099s, your W-2s, and all of those things that a lot of business owners, you get a deadline and it gets really stressful. And especially if you put everything off until the very end, you're really giving up 2 weeks of your time that could be spent marketing, it could be spent vacationing, you could be doing anything that you want with that time. And you'll have that assurance that everything has been done correctly, especially if you pick your bookkeeper the correct way. So, and if you think about it, sometimes people scoff at paying a monthly fee for a bookkeeper. Then they get to the end of the year and they're doing their books and they run into it. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone has had at least 1 year where they waited all year, and then when they're doing their reconciliations, it's just 1 month after another with a reconciliation. They have to go back and figure out transactions and undo things and redo things. And it's a tremendous amount of work to get through that kind of homework. If you pay someone to do it, you're really looking at like $2,800 to $5,000 to have the annual cleanup done for reconciling so you can do your taxes for the year. And that is just way more expensive than if you just paid for it to be done correctly the first time. And I think the other thing that's important when you are considering having a bookkeeper and how you're going about choosing who that person's going to be or that group, you really want to look at your budget and what you have and what your negotiables are. This mindset will really help set you up for success, especially if you know what your budget is and you get in that conversation with someone who's going to possibly be your bookkeeper. That bookkeeper can understand what your range of service will look like according to that budget, and they can really communicate to you clearly and kind of bluntly, this is what the parameters are for that budget. And then you can look at, does that fit where your business is going? If you're a small business, you can have a pretty reasonable budget and get all of your business services provided through a bookkeeper. If you are a business that is jumping from small business to medium or large, then you really have to understand, that bookkeeper can help you understand how many transactions that's going to look like. Do you have invoices? How many of those? Are projects part of your business? How many projects did you run per month or per year or quarterly or however often? But really it becomes a how many conversation. And then that can really, they have somebody who knows what all those different services look like, and they can really give you an accurate understanding of what kind of budget you need to have if you don't already have one set up that's realistic. And the reason that setting a budget is really important because you know your business best. You understand where your comfort zone is as far as like what your outgoing cash flow looks like, and you also have access to somebody who can talk to you about that. Like if you have a cash flow problem, your bookkeeper can help you put it in perspective. And you might find that you actually can afford to have an expert partner with your business and help you ongoing. Okay, well, that with all of that said, it leads us into how to choose the one. You really want to put together some really good interview questions, and probably isn't going to be like, you know, ask them a mathematical equation and then have them answer it like snap snap. Okay, it's really going to be looking at what their qualifications are. So if you're talking to someone who's just certified for bookkeeping, you're talking to someone who understands transactions, they understand the cycle, they understand reconciliation, they understand um, invoicing, and they're going to understand some of those basic parts of the accounting cycle that they're part of bookkeeping no matter what size of business that you have. If you go into more of the pro advisors, you're talking about payroll, you're talking about more complex integrations and automation, you're talking about inventory and projects, possibly more complex industry topics like some industries have to have trust accounts and they have more a need for like third-party payments and those kind of more complex things. So if you're talking to someone as a pro advisor, you have access to a lot of different pieces that can really help save your business money overall, especially if you can get it all through QuickBooks. You're already paying the subscription. If those services are part of your dashboard and you can access them, no need to have like information sitting in one application and another, and all of those things are not talking to each other. QuickBooks can do it for you all in your subscription. That's a great way to save on the cost of the financial story of your business. So some good simple questions that you can ask are, have you worked with retail before? Have you worked in construction? Have you worked for construction companies bookkeeping before? Asking about the industry and what their past experiences are or what their knowledge base is of that industry, because each industry has its own accounting setup and chart of accounts and requirements. Like real estate, legal, they have some laws that regulate how their accounting can be set up and what's a requirement for them to follow. So having somebody in bookkeeping who has some knowledge or experience in that can be really helpful because you have that person who's looking for those things and they're they're holding your back for you while you're customer facing and doing the other parts of the business that are really important. So that's a really important question, is ask them about their industry experience. And then, ask them, how do they speak accounting, and can they bring it into layman's terms if you're not really familiar with accounting terms and lingo, and but you really want to be involved and understand what's happening. You want somebody that can communicate with you and not be too rigid about that particular thing, because it's you want to be able to make decisions using the information that's happening. It's not just about paying your taxes. And then of course, bookkeeping, it's not only about looking backwards, it's about the future as well. So you want to have somebody that can understand where your business has been, where it's at now, and then also being able to speak to you when they notice that your business is growing into new things that are available and that they can access for you. So it's a great way to have your money working for you as your business is growing and going into the future. And you definitely want to have somebody that has that wide range of technology experience, because that's, as we've seen in the last 4 years, all you're hearing all the time, that you want to be in the spearhead of technology. You want to be in the spearhead of your industry. You want to be there first. You don't want to be following other people, because you'll have an uphill battle if you do that. So partnering with somebody who has the technology mindset, they are open, they know how to use it, they can get you results really fast, that's going to be very critical and also save you a lot of money as well, just in the value of that knowledge base for that from that person. So with that in the communication, your bookkeeper should be the person who can check the pulse of your business. They're going to be managing the heartbeat, and you don't want to be flying by the seat of your pants and doing things on impulse and just throwing in to see where it sticks kind of thing. You want to have somebody that can really check the pulse, keep your business clean and healthy. And then you'll find that having a good bookkeeper pays themselves over time, and it really saves you through rework. It saves you through penalties. It saves you when you don't have to, you know, run into those unexpected, unnecessary mistakes. And since I am a pro advisor too, I wanted to mention that when you have somebody that is in the higher level experience in bookkeeping and their certifications, you really have somebody that can also help you interpret your reports and help you find them within your QuickBooks dashboard. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to understand where you're going to find parts of your business. Like sometimes it can be confusing when you're looking at profit and loss, and some of your bank accounts are showing up on your balance statement rather than your P&L or your cash flows. So having someone who can easily walk you through all of those reports and how to customize them, that's something that is a little bit extra when you're speaking to someone who has extra qualifications, because that person can help you with things like I often advertise a customized dashboard. That's something I think gets overlooked so much, and from industry to industry, what you see on the dashboard can really help business owners save a lot of their own time, especially if they've got someone doing the work in the background and they're just logging in occasionally when they need to, and they're able to quickly see those numbers that often are important from the top level. If you're considering, like, you want to get a loan for your business and you need to see what your cash flow looks like, or your liquid assets, things that you can leverage when you're talking to the bank about something that is a bigger project to expand your business. So if you're able to log in and your dashboard is set up to show you some of that information and give you those numbers, because your bank is not going to ask you complex questions like go through your report and explain why this is. They're going to ask, like, what is what does your cash flow look like, or what is your available cash? What assets can be, leveraged that could be liquefied within the 12 months? So things like that. So, liquidated in the 12 months. Um, so I think that that's something that's a little bit of like a extra tip when you're considering getting a bookkeeper as a partner for your business rather than doing it yourself, because you're going to have somebody who's going to think in terms that you're probably not thinking in, and, um, and that can really be the benefit for you. So good luck with anyone that has been considering finding a bookkeeper. If you thought this was a great recording and you'd like to work with me, I will attach my website. You go to www.dunlap-bookkeeping.com and set up your free consultation there. It's no pressure. I love to find out and learn about businesses and potentially look at the ways I can be helpful. Otherwise, I hope I left you with some great questions you can ask when you're finding a new bookkeeper.